Greetings everyone, if you're looking for a great Blood Surge build on the Necromancer on Diablo IV Season 2 in order to easily push Nightmare T80 and more, I'm happy to tell you my hardcore setup. Of course, if you don't die stupidly like I did, you'll be able to push Nightmare Dungeons T90 in hardcore. You can also play this one in softcore, just make sure to remove a bit of tankiness in order to gain more damage. I'll explain everything in that video, and if it's not done, don't forget to subscribe and big thanks for that. For the skills, you'll be playing Cost and Drill to pack your enemies, Explosion in order to gain the buff using Corpse, Iron Maiden to gain some healing and resources, and Blood Mist to be invulnerable. You'll also play Hemorrhage as base attack and Blood Surge for the core skill. For the Book of the Dead, you want to sacrifice your warriors in order to gain the critical strike chance. If you're playing in hardcore, in the meantime, don't forget to use this one as you'll gain 20% to all resistances, and when you're capped you can switch to skirmishers. After that you want to get the bone in order to have overpowered damage, and for the golem, additional life. For the gear, first increase armor on your helmet and 1 stat willpower, intelligence, maximum life and total armor. You also want on your chest the fact that you'll get a blood orb using a corpse, and physical damage, armor, maximum life, damage reduction. For the gloves, increase attack speed when you have an overpower hit with a blood skill, +4 to blood surge, overpower damage, critical strike chance, and if possible 1 stat, for example dexterity. For the pants, Blood Moon Breaches, it's very important as it will increase overpower damage on enemies affected by 1 curse, so mandatory to get this unique. And for the boots, stats and essence cost reduction will be very important. You can either get cooldown reduction on Blood Mist or increase movement speed if you prefer. For the weapon, make sure to either have on the base a dagger to have increased damage to close enemies, or a sword to have increased critical strike damage. For the stats, you want critical strike damage, core skill damage, damage to close enemies for example, and the fact that Blood Surge will do another Nova. For the offhand, the fact that Cost and Drill will increase your critical strike chance and critical strike damage, and for the stats, essence cost reduction, essence generation, some stats or critical strike chance. For the first ring, you want the fact that you'll get resource when you hit a vulnerable enemy. You also want critical strike chance, critical strike damage, and if possible, overpower damage. Then you have 2 choices. First one, if you don't want to spam your skill, use these rings in order to trigger your corpse skill. The thing is that you'll only benefit from the maximum life because we don't need the other stats, so if you want to use your skills, it's better to use another ring with the power increasing your overpower hit after being max healed, and enjoy the affixes, maximum life, critical strike chance, overpower damage, and so on. Lastly, for the amulet, make sure to get this one, which will increase your overpower critical strike and also give you an overpower hit after using 300 resource. For the Vampiric Power, you want to have Accursed Touch and Prey on the Weak in order to always have your enemies vulnerable, and Dying if you're playing in hardcore. If you are in softcore, you can also go for another one to gain more DPS, Blood Boil to have another overpower hit, and Sanguine Brace in order to gain 8% critical strike chance. Now for the skill tree, you want Hemorrhage with the fact that you'll grant attack speed on your basic attack. We don't need additional fortification, it's quite fine. Then increase damage for your core skill, the fact that Blood Surge will overpower. You can put 1 point here left in order to create a corpse, and the fact that you'll have corpse being created with Blood Mist. 3 points here for the resources, 3 points here to increase your damage, 3 points to increase damage to curse enemies, and 3 points to increase damage to close enemies. 1 point on the Iron Maiden and the additional healing. You can max this one or adjust them if you prefer. For example, if you have enough blood orb or enough fortification, you can remove some points here, but we want additional healing, additional blood skill damage, additional overpower damage, and at least 1 point in these 2 passives. A bit below, additional attack speed, and the fact that we have additional damage reduction and sacrifice bonuses. Lastly, of course, Rasma's Vigor in order to finish this setup. Now for the Paragon, first one, increase overpower damage and then increase critical strike damage, increase overpower damage here, and we have some points here that you can remove if you are playing in softcore. We go at the top of it, get this one, increase damage after using 5 corpses, and this glyph, increase damage to close targets. You can also remove these points if you want, still if you are playing in softcore or that you are maxed. Then we go back at the left, we get this glyph which will increase the damage on enemies that are cursed. It's interesting to put it here because it will increase the overpower damage. Then we don't take this node with the blood orbs, we go at the top of it, we get this node, increase damage reduction or damage, and lastly, this glyph increase damage with fortification. In the case that you choose to remove some points in order to gain damage, you can go on your left and get this node in order to have a last glyph to finish this Paragon setup. I'll let you at the gameplay, and just keep in mind that first, the Necromancer is not the fastest character in the game, but also I was playing in hardcore, so making sure to not die. That's why the gameplay is a bit slower than usual, but you'll have enough damage and DPS to do what you want in the game. Thanks for watching this video, I hope that you like this build, and if you have any question on this hardcore setup, make sure to post in the comments, I'll be happy to answer you.